This is the If More Let's Divide podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back again on your TV screens. Did you ever watch GTV?
When it was GBCS.
Yeah, GBC, yeah. What was your worst time on GBC TV?
I'll say Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
Before the football could start, they show useless, unnecessary information from.
But Saturday mornings, that means it's the quite recent GBC TV because they didn't even start early on Saturday mornings.
Before they start football, they'll play some useless program.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Gone are the days when they used to TV, they close.
Yeah, 11:59.
Then your screen will go multicolor, ping, or it will go to that mosquito.
Then my worst period was Talking Points before Obra.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I used to, for some reason, I enjoy Talking Points.
Charlie, you dear.
Pekasa.
We are getting jiggy for this episode, especially me, because this Empress
From the
she's an empress, Yeah, and I've known her for quite some time now. I met her through, some good folks of mine. Shouts to Sister Derby and
Maji. What's up, Debbie?
and One Love. I met her through these amazing folks. And Charlie, later I realized she did sing. Wow. Matured music. Do you remember the song am I played for you, right?
Yeah.
Matured music. And I'm like, what? Is that her? And we are cool. We are not cool. We are cool. She's a friend. That kind of friend where you can't call to ask, hey, how are you today? No. When we meet, oh, yeah, how are you? Yeah. Then we act a little bit, then we go our separate ways. But actually today, she's on our podcast. She is a musician. When I say a musician, not one of them 2x4 musician, a proper musician. And Charlie, I'm so elated that she is here to come and grace this podcast. Yeah, she's come to give us English, so I have to start by attacking. I have to attack first.
Be on the offensive.
Yeah, Charlie.
It's the best form of defense.
Guys, without much ado, help me welcome Yakoto.
Yes, sir.
So you can walk in.
Mutumbu,
Yakuto.
how are you? That was quite an impressive introduction.
Yeah, Charlie. We are freestylists. We
Yeah.
just go off the whim and we don't prep.
Yeah, I feel slightly pressured now.
Oh, why?
because
Oh, don't
you've
worry.
made
We are
such a
friends.
grand
Oh no, we are
intro.
friends. So don't worry, we are friends. Yakuto. So it's basically Akuto.
Yeah, Akoto, born on a Thursday, rebellious, smart, confident.
Yeah, I mean.
The Yas out there know.
Yeah, and we can tell.
Oh.
Fred reads. So Fred, what can you say?
Has Fred ever read a reader?
Stop sleeping with the children.
That is Fred's cycle, not to sleep.
Very concerning.
No, I'm talking about the Catholic priest. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
To stop sleeping with the children.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie, you guys, your mouths.
Oh,
How do you know?
I was trying to be subtle though.
But they did it.
They did it, and they are still
Stop
doing
doing
it.
it. Okay?
Period.
Not good.
Stop
Yeah.
doing it.
Charlie, Charlie.
Yes. Yes.
We thank you for coming.
Thank you, my love.
Hit
Thank
you up,
you.
and you're like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do this.
Honestly, I felt a bit like hurt by what you said earlier.
What
Because you're like, yeah, those people are your friends, but you're not friends. Mutoma, I always saw you as my
Do you know?
friend.
Yes. Do you know
But
something?
it didn't go two ways,
Okay.
as I
Really?
heard. Yeah, you didn't see me. You were always like my proper friend in my head.
We
Like
He
I'll
even
be
told me he
reading.
didn't know you actually.
Like I'll be reading.
Yeah. So I told Fred that no, we don't know each other proper like that because we never spent. I don't remember a day where we sat and spoke. It's always Debbie
Yeah.
You know, there hasn't been a day where we have proper
True.
spoken.
And I like to kind of be in the background in social settings, which
why?
is also true.
Why? Like,
I like to observe.
mm,
I like to just like look at people
He's a
and
troublemaker.
yeah, I just like to observe. Yeah.
does it help with your writing, with your lyrics? Like, is it something that you've been doing, observing people?
Human
for a
beings
very,
are
very long-
such interesting animals. So if you really want an interesting topic to write about, you just have to observe them for long enough and they will reveal everything to you.
Yeah.
Now
Have
I'm
you?
scared.
Have you? Has anyone proved you wrong? Any friend proved you wrong? Maybe you had this thing in your head about them, and you started to observe them for a while, and you were like, "Nah, actually, this person wasn't like that."
I am still waiting for that person, honestly.
So you're still watching them.
Yeah, I'm always like, sometimes I'm like, yeah, oh, this time I hope that person proves you wrong or surprises
Yeah.
you. But actually, and I don't say this like from a like high pedestal or something, but I think I have quite good intuition. So I really have a good feeling. And that I
Yeah.
think something we have in common as artists, to really feel, to get into a topic, to listen to people, to observe them. And yeah, so I've rarely been wrong.
Fred, are you good at, you know, observing people, like looking at someone for a long time and picking things up?
I was going to ask her, is it a skill? But now that you're asking me the question, so please answer that question when I'm done answering Mutombo. But I feel like I am a good observer of people in a moment, but I've never deliberately studied anyone, which now I feel like I've been wasting my life.
Why do you think you have to study people? Are you skeptical? You know,
I'm kind of like just, I don't think anything about anybody until I have to think about them. But in the last few months, it's come back to bite me. Like there's people that are close to me that have like literally shocked me to the point of betrayal.
hey,
And I'm like, wow.
why don't I know this?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like, you know, I let
Yeah.
it live.
Slide,
I
yeah.
let it like, chat. You don't need-
Yeah, this is maybe quite personal, but how do you
I
deal
like
with shocks?
personal.
How do you deal with shocks?
Shocks and how?
Like when someone lets you down, like when something bad happened, oh, I'm shocked. Like how do you deal with shocks?
I kill them.
That means you have never been shocked.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Blood is on your shoulder.
I visit them in their sleep.
Yeah,
No.
wow.
No, actually, let me answer his question
Yeah.
first. Fred, you asked me if it's like a skill. I don't know. I think I've inherited it from my grandmother, Akoto. Like, if Akoto came to our house back in the days, she would ask my dad a question. My father, who was like a full-blown high-life musician, bad boy, rude boy things in the house, you know, studio every day, quite political, quite open, quite Rasta. And my grandmother, Akoto, would come to the house and say, like, what have you done? And I've never seen a man crumble like that and tell her everything, like the truth and everything.
Wow.
And growing up, my dad kind of said, yeah, I got that from his mom. Like my dad and I fight a lot and we argue. There's still love and respect for what we do, both as artists, but it's never been an easy relationship. But he's always looked at me like, hey, you can see people, like you can see me. Like, so I don't know whether that answers your question. So it's always been, even when I was a little girl.
So it sounds like it's innate.
Maybe it was passed on to me
Yeah.
by Akoto, and I've now inherited her name, so I think it's quite telling. She was quite the seer. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Don't you love that about our culture, how we get to reincarnate
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
relive or repeat?
But is it do you believe in reincarnation?
I mean, she's in her grandmother's stead now. The name is passed on.
I mean genes,
Yeah.
not reincarnation. I believe our DNA works. You know, it is passed on, you know.
Yeah, so-
that I know. I don't know about
I agree with you.
reincarnation, whether we are going to come back.
On a scientific level, it's just a new kind of formation of DNA and genes that get passed through to us by our family and our forefathers and foremothers. But on a spiritual level, I think we all have a purpose and we all have like something to do, a chore, a life mission.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when someone else in our in the pre-life hasn't completed it, you have someone in the next generation. I mean, you often see that, like someone's father is a carpenter and the grandchild becomes a designer for furniture or something like
And that's
that.
what I'm looking at it for both of you guys to think about. Is on a philosophical level.
Ooh, I like
re-
philosophy.
Yeah, reincarnation is like, okay, you can't scientifically prove it because you can't say this person. But on a philosophical level, I guess what I'm trying to also get from you guys is, do you believe, because sometimes, like you said, we're here to represent something.
Yeah.
But I like to actually, both philosophically and scientifically, like to think about it this way. Because our DNA is repeating itself through time, maybe you can look at it as self-improvement through time in different beings until it finds its way in one on the line that represents everything that it was meant to accomplish.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Yeah.
So you can have
Makes
3
complete
kids,
sense to me.
but maybe one of them is the closest to perfecting the line of the DNA, and then they will transfer. Maybe by 3rd, 4th generation, the manifestation of that line of DNA will come to fruition. I kind of saw, like maybe you, all the talents that you exhibit, maybe was generations of compounded things that manifested in you through DNA. I don't know. I'm just thinking about it that way.
I mean, it makes sense. But also, what I feel like what Ya was saying. So let's say I am a poet.
A good one on top.
Yeah,
A great one. I love your thing you put out. Actually.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We want more, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure more. Maybe my kid who I live with in the same house will be watching me or listening to me writing every day, and that gets into him. Then he'll grow up and he'll become an author or something, or a poet too. Like,
Maybe not necessarily as good as you.
Yeah, but I'm
or maybe
saying,
even better.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Yeah, but I'm saying that our environment also shapes us,
But you'd be surprised.
like DNA wise.
Maybe your child goes to try away somewhere in a different continent.
Yeah,
Doesn't claim the child.
yeah.
Moves to Ghana, and that child may grow up and become exactly
Like
it happens.
That's the DNA.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's DNA. So
Yes.
you have made mention
Yes.
of your father.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, who I know, but
You know him personally?
No.
Oh,
You know what I
okay.
mean. But there is one
Your
question.
dad.
There is one question that I want to ask. Have you ever made a song with him? Is that song out?
The thing is, let me tell you something. My father is one of the greatest songwriters in Tree that I personally know.
Yeah.
And I'm yet to find someone who's about to top him. I think, fucking boys are pretty close,
Yeah.
But like the poetry and also the activism that, trickles through his songs. I mean, can you imagine that guy wrote a song called Muye Boy, Muye King King. And everybody was singing it in the street.
Do you know that song?
I know the term.
Enti
though.
muye boy, muye king king.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Yeah. Like, and his ability to empower people but still hold them accountable.
What is his name? Why? You've been beaten about the Pusha. Who is this man?
He will come and beat me. We are talking about Mac God. Mac God, Muye Boy, Muye
Yes.
King. So Mac God was a high level. So his name actually consists of his initials. So it's MC because the master of ceremony, and then Gilbert Orodochi. Hey, now they will come and find me. I've revealed my family name.
Yeah.
But yeah, like and he liked to kind of like tease like people because they were like, how can you name yourself God? Yeah, it's the God within, it's his initials, the power is within, so he was straightforward. And to answer your question, I've always felt intimidated by the talent of my dad. I mean, growing up watching your dad perform in front of, like, in front of crowds. Like, I'm talking Shatawale crowds. Like,
Yeah.
crowds, people, the youth singing his songs. And my dad literally shutting down churches because they were trying to perform exorcism on a little girl, and he found that inhumane. Like, he's a proper, you're intimidated by that.
Yeah.
He's a proper character. And so I've always felt very shy to ask him, but he did write the bridge for one of my songs called We Walk the Line, which is on my Mermaid Blues.
2012?
That was 2017.
2017,
It was
okay,
the
yeah.
last album I did with Warner Music.
Okay. Yeah.
After I fulfilled my deal.
You know, your father's, that particular
seem
song.
elated by that.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Fulfilling your deal. You seem elated by that.
You always have to keep up your side of the deal.
Yeah, that song. Now I'm playing it in my head. It had
Which one?
your father's Uye Bwe Muye Bwe Muye.
Yeah.
It had that German sound, like German
80s music.
80s
Europe.
African Ghanaian,
Yeah.
that sound. Like so much space and the bells,
The synthesizers.
the synthesizers,
Yeah.
crazy.
Very modern for the time.
I remember, I don't know if the only thing I relate to German sound is porn.
What's that? Come again?
My dad used to have a lot of German porn, and that's the sound that rings in my head.
Oh, German. Oh, you said porn.
Yeah. Sorry, I mean, that's when he said sound, that's the only thing that was happening in my head.
I feel
Don't
like
worry.
Ghanaians love porn.
Yeah,
This is the
That's a different topic.
this is the second time. I
No,
feel like.
so we'll go back to the sound.
Hey,
Sorry.
wow. Okay.
But my first porn I watched was a German porn.
They're the best.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Back to the sound.
Actually,
Oh, we can talk about German porn. It's only that I don't know much about it.
so shouts to my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you are writing songs with people,
Many people and for people.
top people, and you are doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not putting them in the same equation or the same line as your father, but you're writing. I know you've done work with so many people.
Absolutely.
So why don't you want to do anything with my God? Like, it has to happen.
Like I said, I think I've done stuff. He's helped me finish and complete one song.
Just one
And
song?
Just one song.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my dad is like, I remember having a show. I remember having a show in Hamburg. It was completely packed, sold out. And that was after I'd been nominated for an award. So it was like a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And my dad was in a crowd. He was on a balcony. And I was like, yeah, you guys, I would like to introduce you. My dad is here. He's here. Let me introduce you by God. I say, hey, please, Dad, can you come on stage with me? My dad was like, oh, you can do it. Do it now. Do it. That's what he said to me from up there. Like, he's so not impressionable, Like, and I kind of like that. I think growing up, because I never got too many props from my dad. I mean, now you would say, okay, that's PTSD because you're supposed to encourage you're supposed to encourage your children. But African parents, I think, have a hard time showing emotions and being vulnerable and also granting their children vulnerability. So my dad, he was always very, let's say, intense about me perfecting my crafts and being good at writing. And I think the reason that I am such a, if I can say so myself, a prolific writer, is due to my dad, because he used to give me extra homework in literature. He used to give me so many books to read. Oh my God. And to this day, it's me and my books, Charlie. I'm okay. Like, I don't really need a lot of stuff happening in my life. So I think my dad is always inside of the song. It doesn't matter if he writes it or not. It's because of him I'm a musician, and it's because of him I got introduced to music at a very early age. As little as 0, when he was carrying me taking me to rehearsals.
Do you have photos?
Yeah, I do.
Dope.
I do.
I
can send them to you.
Okay. I'm going to stay on your dad for a little bit.
Hey, God.
Same. I have a few questions.
Okay, good.
On that. No, you go.
Okay.
It's okay.
Do you know that he's proud?
Well, I love to talk about African parenting because I think it's something we actually need to talk about. Earlier, Fred and I talked about generations and how that affects us, or the boomers, the ones that are in their 60s now. And I kind of told you, right? Look, they have a hard time expressing themselves and showing emotion, and because they always had to function. Like, think back at the time our parents grew up, like that was post-colonization, or even some of our parents were still, like, their mothers were still colonized, and their fathers were still colonized. So imagine the pressure, and imagine coming out of that, and imagine my dad being like the first in the family to travel, right? Being the first in the family to say, I'm not going to be an engineer, I'm going to be an artist, and I'm going to do what I want, and I'm going to come back to my country, and I'm not going to sing love songs, you know, I'm going to sing about the country's kind of like condition. I'm going to speak for the people that no one really looks at, the workers, the people that are keeping this country afloat. It's actually not the politicians. It's always the hawkers. It's always the engineers. It's always the people working in the trotros. It's always the common, I hate the word common people, the real people.
Yeah.
And my dad held all of that and held all of that pressure. So I don't really expect my dad to be proud of me or expect anything of him at this point.
So let me ask my question again.
Yeah.
Do you know that he's proud?
He must be.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I could just talk about myself. Like, if my child was stepping into my footsteps, you know, but, you know, of course this is the thing, yeah. It's always, the focus is a lot on my dad because he was a musician, so it makes sense, right?
Who puts the focus, you or you think the public?
I think, you know, journalists, people who question me, you know, the media, the public. But I think I always like to give loads of credit to my mom because she's the one who actually made me go to piano lessons so that I could write my music, right? She paid for my dance classes, musicality classes. She made me...
Do you like incense?
I love incense. I am incense.
Okay, great.
So are you aware that on your...
So I like to give credit to my mom because it's actually the practical aspect of becoming an artist is due to her.
Are you aware that on your when you're searched, it only puts one parent's name up?
Yeah, I saw that. That's so
Why?
funny.
Why though?
I
Because you
think
just mentioned their
it's
mom,
because
so I was coming to
I
that.
think it's because it's what I just said. I think people put, I don't blame them. They put focus on him because he was the artist, right? My mom is a political scientist. You know, she started out as a
Spy.
Yeah, imagine.
The spy who loves it.
She started out as a teacher and was into pedagogics and education, and then upgraded to political scientist and was working in many different countries. You know, she took me all around Africa. Thanks to my mom, I got to experience Central Africa. I got to experience Togo, Senegal. I got to experience South Africa, Kenya, you know, all these places she took me to. She took me to Asia. She traveled with me for there was barely no money in the house, but she's the first person who took me to Paris, to London. She made a great effort to expose me to the world, teach me different languages. So all the things that I'm using right now in my job as a writer, as a composer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shout out, mommy.
Shout.
Awesome. I'm glad that you got the chance to shine a light on
Hey,
that.
I'm too personal. What is this?
So
It's
No,
the
we love
incense.
it.
It's the incense.
So like between them, which one like is more interested in your craft now? Like
I think
who
both of
calls
them.
you
I
to,
think
hey, so what's up
definitely my mom.
your mom? Okay.
Yeah, definitely my mom. My mom is the one who checks up on me.
Yeah.
I've ordered vinyls to her house. Poor mom. Like, I've ordered, like, just of now, we've ordered vinyls to her house, and we're like, Mom, can you please listen to the vinyls and compare them to the link? And she's like she's in her 60s, right? So we're complaining all this techie stuff to her. And my mom is just awesome. Has always been so supportive. She stands there at every show. She cooks for me when I have my interviews and promo days and stuff like that. Yeah, hands on. What a G.
Yeah, shouts Mama G. Shouts Mama G. Yeah. How was it like, Fred, I know you want to, how was it
Go
like
ahead.
growing up in a household like yours? When I say yours, your mom being German, right?
Yes, and my dad being
And
Ghanaian.
your father being Ghanaian. Like,
Stressful.
how was it?
Just plain stressful. Yeah, you couldn't put together two people who are more different, who contrast more in culture, and who oppose each other in so many ways, but then love each other and have created a human being together. So it's like, it was effing stressful. Yeah.
How did your friends see your household?
I think my friends, you know what? I don't even, Fred, and this goes back to what you said. Like, I loved what you said earlier about you not thinking about other people too much. You know, I think when I was younger, I was also just really living in the moment. And I'm a bit similar, believe it or not. I take it as it comes. And then when something,
I believe it.
when something happens, I'm like, I observed that, but it's now coming to me. But what I did observe with people who came to our house, they loved it because there was a free atmosphere. My mom was walking around in jeans shorts and cool t-shirts, like thrifted t-shirts. My dad was always making music. My mom was always very creative with us, painting and allowing creativity to flourish, which was not very common back in the days when I grew up in Tema. So there was always like stuff to paint, stuff to dance. There was dancing. She would put on music, make us dance and stuff like that. So I think people enjoyed coming to our house. Yeah, like the kids.
Yeah. So you said you grew up in Tema.
Yes, I grew up in Tema, Comty9, repping Comty9.
See the house.
Rasta off.
Repping all the Rastas in Comty9.
So wait. So was it sometime in Ghana? Was it sometime in Ghana, sometime in Germany, or?
Okay, so actually, my dad was like, the moment I was born, he was like, no. I want to raise my child in Ghana. There's no way she's growing up amongst all these white people, adapting to white culture. Like, I want her to. So that's very much, thank you, Dad. Like, that's very much my dad who packed up the family. And
what kind of racist in that?
Yeah?
You go on. We'll
I don't think it was. Honestly, that was not racist. That was.
I was just kidding.
That was
sarcasm.
That was just my dad actually protecting me from racism. Because I think he knew what it was to be in Germany in the 80s. He kind of wanted to prevent me from going through that. And he packed us up and we moved to Tema. I think we were living with, I was a baby, so I don't really remember. But from what my parents tell me, we were living with friends. So shout out to those friends who took us in. And then they were saving and building a small house in Tema Comty9, built by Kwame Nkrumah, the first estates.
Yeah, the estates,
affordable estates, which I hope very much someone comes up with that idea before I do it when I become the most influential person on the globe. But yeah,
Allah. I love it.
But so we grew up there. It was very simple, Tema, straight roads. Yep. I loved it.
Yeah. So I want to
don't ask me more.
We are not even beginning yet.
Nothing is off limits.
I'm not going to ask any question, but I just wish I was in your household to see how your father and your mom dealt. Because this person is a German, hardcore Ghanaian coming together. It would be fun. It would be fun.
They used to say opposites attract.
Yeah.
And I think what also helped, I'm saying this in the least judgmental way, but my dad was very much my mom's senior. So he was 10 years her senior, right? So now look at my mom. She's a young woman. She's very smart as well, but she's impressionable. So she will follow the lead and kind of trust him, right? But if I think back to my mom, who was like the only white lady in Tema Comty9, walking around.
Wow.
I'm like, that's brave, She went shopping alone. She took care of me most of the day, and that's brave. And my dad was hardcore. He believed in certain things. I was not allowed to go to church. So that was a big deal for me because all my friends were going to church and I wasn't allowed to go to church. And
I like your father.
He was pretty strict and he had his principles and we obeyed them.
Is he still strict?
I think so.
Shout.
But not with me. I'm grown.
Yeah.
I think for us, and speaking for myself, it's really about learning. And it sounds like you're a wealth of experience. Because your experience cannot be pigeonholed. You come from multiple cultural backgrounds.
Absolutely.
Your experience is very vast.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been stereotyped and made to feel maybe even sometimes uncomfortable. You have a mom who's German, white, right?
Yeah.
Your dad is supposed to be a legend in the Ghanaian space. So living in different shadows.
Yeah.
Living in people's
Different realities.
yeah
almost.
ideas of who you should be, what you represent. But what is coming through to me is
Here we go. Drum roll.
a strong sense of self and an identity that you've honed over the years.
Thank you. I appreciate
And
that.
I'm trying to figure out how, besides the books, because I know you've talked about the books, besides the books,
They say we
what
are too
was
known.
your-
book.
you're too funny. What was your daily thoughts like when you were between growing up to the point of rebelling? What were your
Rebelling,
thoughts?
okay.
Yeah, your thoughts like what do you used to feel like living in your head?
I mean, growing up in Ghana at that particular time was tough. I mean, it was like Ubruni every day, and I received quite a bit of beating in SOS. I went to SOS, and I was quite an outsider.
I suspected that. But
You did? That I went to SOS? How so?
there's a lot of smart people from Tema, and they all come from that school. Yeah, it pisses me
Shout
off.
out to
Actually.
SOS.
Yeah.
Shout out to Miss Atokro and Miss Maggie, who were my teachers that I remember, who I think back in the days they were still knocking heads, so no shout out to that. I hope that's over. But like they encouraged me to be quite unique, and they were always like, don't let anyone bully you because your skin is different, you're a bit fairer or whatever. People used to be hard on us, but there was me and one other guy called James, I think, who was also like mixed, right?
Yeah.
But the rebelling started very early on because I kind of figured that the Ghanaian kids didn't let me play, and I didn't know too many white kids back in the days. There was one white guy in my class, but I also tried to avoid him because he was getting even more slack. So I tried to naturally stay away from him.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, rebelling, yes, that has been my way of survival because, yeah, Charlie, growing up in Ghana, you couldn't do rides by anyone. And then coming to Germany when I was like 10, because the money was scarce. Ghana, back in the days, was also very expensive. It was similar to now, where the bare minimum was very hard for the, let's say, normal family to be able to afford, right? So we left because education is free. Thank God, still is free in most parts of Europe. So we left, and that was tough too, man. Like I received a lot of
But your dad
bullying there too.
your dad was a superstar.
In Ghana, the kids didn't care.
The
The children didn't care. The children my age didn't know him. We were like they were too young, and
But was he known
that was
here?
pre-social media.
Was he known here?
in Ghana,
Yeah.
oh, my friend, like it was
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
If I had an outing with my dad, I could not have him to myself. It was
Yeah.
literally my God, muye boy, like on the dashboard, on the windows, like when we were at the beach, he was like playing football with the boys. Like, it was rare that I had him to myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now to you.
Come on. My favorite topic.
Um,
I'm joking.
Yeah. Now, you are a very solid artist, and you have been signed. You were
Yeah.
signed. You have been signed.
I have also signed.
You've also signed. you know.
That's actually true. Yeah.
Did you start out as Ya Akuto, or
Yes.
you just flipped your name
No,
recently?
actually, starting out, I started playing in bands when I was 14. So my advantage in Germany was that I spoke fluent English and that I could write fluently. And all these boys were trying to like imitate American
Yeah.
musicians and kind of trying to flex in English, and it was all wrong. It was grammatically wrong. So I was like, excuse me, like I can help you. And I started out literally by just trying to offer help to some of the male singers who were doing like punk and soul and mixing ska and R&B. I think back in the days, things were way less closed and genre-based. It was just about like fulfilling your dream and being a musician and being a star on stage, right? So I was like, yo, I can write those lyrics for you. And Ego and guys, and they were like, what makes you think? And I was like, just let me sing, and I'll prove to you that I can sing, and then I'll prove to you that I can write. And I was 14. And I was like, at school in break, I was always trying to be in the smokers area where the boys were hiding to smoke, right? So I just went there.
Cigarettes? Or?
Yes, cigarettes.
okay.
Like very naughty, like at 14, 15 they were. And the boys, that were doing the band stuff and the music stuff, they were always older than me, right?
Yeah.
And I was very bored in my class because the girls were talking about makeup and boys, and I never cared. Like, till this day, it seems very shallow to me to only think or talk about one thing or superficial things, right? So I was looking for that kind of inspiration. So I went to these guys and I was like, look, I can sing. And I sang 3 songs to them, and they were like, that's dope, and shut everybody up. Next thing you know, they replaced me with the main singer. Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, they replaced me with the main singer. Yeah. I think they were not trying to hurt him. They were not trying to hurt his feelings, so they made me sing alongside him for a while. And at some point, I became the main singer. Yeah.
Wow.
And they put him to the back.
Oh,
Yeah.
shouts to this guy.
But just to let you know, like, it started very early.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah. 14.
Yeah.
I started.
Fred, you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, so your life is interesting, but you're around boys who are smoking. You're 14 years old.
Yeah.
You're trying to
Do what I
prove it-
love.
Yeah, well, you're trying to prove something also.
Also, I was very bored with the girls, so I had to find
You're
new
trying
friends.
you were trying to validate your talent.
Well, yeah, I was trying to work. I was trying to do something. Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted them to like respect what you did.
Yeah, they had to.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
what was driving that?
I think
What
I was
the
always
need to
I was
respected.
I'm a vicar. Till this day, I absolutely intense about diary and journaling. So I think the first thing I remember is I was like in my diary and I was like 10 or 11. I don't know if I heard it in a movie, and I said the greatest sin in life is to be mediocre. And I don't know, that stuck with me. And so for everything I do, especially musically and artistically, that always stuck with me. And so when I was, like you said, proving myself in the music scene at a very young age, and people always thought I was older because I developed quite fast, right? Which I think is also due to all the things I had been through prematurely as a young girl. And I think that's what still drives me, you know? It's a sin to be mediocre. So I approach everything with a type of urgency, with a type of significance. Yeah.
Yeah. So you keep you write things down. You are very, very intense. You know.
I believe
keeping
in writing.
journals, right?
I think writing is a superpower that once we stop writing things on paper, we lose the ability to
Yeah.
create. That's
so,
what I believe.
So I kept.
That's why
diaries.
AI is taking
Yeah,
over.
your journals.
Because human beings have stopped writing.
Yeah. so I
We're
kept.
giving all the info to the computer.
So I kept journals in the early 2000s, and I stopped. And just quite recently, I've started, putting
Yeah.
things down.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing the change.
Yeah.
I mean, you write, you visualize, and you follow. And I was going to ask you a question about the Stones. Then you brought this up, like you writing, you journaling, and all that. Are you in tune with your spirit? Like I'm getting this Erykah Badu kind of vibe.
Mutombo, what do you think?
Am
I in tune with my spirits?
100%.
Are you?
I think so.
Fred, what do you think?
Am I honestly think so? I'm getting a vibe. Like you are taking me to the 80s, early 90s, R&B-ish, scene. Not like people or like how it felt. I'm getting that.
I don't know. I think with the Stones, there's always this thing that sticks to mind. What I used to do as a kid, Labadi, if you walk a bit in the other direction. I mean, that used to be back in the days. There were stones and rocks you could sit on. And even as a child, I remember like the peace I felt when I sat and I felt the warmth.
Yeah.
And I saw the water kind of covering them, and I saw I'm going to be a bit poetic now. Maybe after that you say we are friends, but like the glittering, the kind of combination of the silky stone, the water, the warmth the stone was giving up. And it gave me some kind of power. I just felt safe when I was sitting on the stone. And even as a little child, I was collecting beautiful stones from the beach or like from the fish or
Yeah.
anything I could find, and I kept it under my bed. Like anything
Oh,
I found
wow.
beautiful, like sticks, stones, flowers. My mom was constantly clearing out my room because I collected these things. So, yeah.
You see, I get that.
Yeah, like sage burning.
Yeah, sage, palos.
And my favorite activity as a girl in Tema, to my neighbor's grievance, was to start a fire, collect charcoal, paper, sticks, and make sure they are dry. And I would wake up early in the morning at 5, 6 p.m., like 6 a.m. when my parents were sleeping. I would just sit in the garden. I would gather all my animals and make a fire for them to see and for me to it calmed me down. Yeah.
Wow.
How old were you when you were doing all this?
Oh, I was very young, like 5, 6. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And I think this kind of like sage burning, which has become very much a trend now, is something I've always done unconsciously because it just gave me a good feeling. I don't know the science behind it or whatever. It just makes
And
me
they never
feel
hit
good.
you with no suspicious Akrawi or yeah.
No. I was always in control of my fire till
Okay.
this day.
Yeah, control.
Control of your
It's all
fire.
about
Okay.
controlling your elements.
Yeah.
What's your star sign? What's yours? What's your star sign?
I'm a Leo.
Leo. I like
Capricorn.
Leos. Capricorn. Earth and fire. I can deal with both.
Yeah,
What?
you
Who's
are.
Earth?
Capricorn is Earth.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I just know I'm Capricorn, but I didn't know the details of it. I just
Yeah.
Oh, you are.
I'm sure. I hope. Correct me in the comments.
You are. What's your star sign?
Guess. 2 of you get one guess.
Virgo. I don't know. I just said it.
I think I know.
So
Yeah,
say
Mutombo will
it.
get
Say
it
it
right.
now.
No.
I saw your date of birth.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Now I'm trying to
But
remember.
I don't know.
Say it now.
the
No,
date of
say it from your feeling and association.
Capricorn.
No.
Oh, you are.
Virgo is actually my rising is in Virgo, so you're correct. But my sun sign, my star sign is actually Pisces.
Oh, Pisces.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pisces.
Yeah.
Now
Pisces.
I see.
What's Pisces? Fire.
No, Pisces is
Or
water.
hot, water.
Pisces
yeah.
be
Virgo is
flow.
earth.
Pisces be water.
Yeah. flow, you did-
Virgo is
Yeah.
earth. I have no fire in my chart, but I like fire.
You like fire?
Yeah,
Wow.
I have a lot of earth in my chart.
Okay.
So I
What's your
I-
chart now? What does it mean, chart?
Chart is just like, okay, you have your star sign, which is Pisces, then my moon sign is Scorpio, and then my rising sign is Virgo. So that's just
Oh,
like
you know
your
this
chart.
shit. Like,
Yeah, it's science.
Yeah.
Everybody who reads it can know it. Yeah. Yes.
So musically, I
Yes.
know you have a long and thick, resume. You were signed to one at once. How did you get that deal? How
So I
did it come
worked
through?
with a very legendary management team, Kame Entertainment. Shout out Christian Kame, who's like one of the dopest humans on earth. He's the person who first signed me, believed in me. He's from Cameroon, Yaoundé. And I got introduced to him by a journalist who was, when I was very young, I think, a bit of a standout child because I was always making music. So publishers got interested in me and they were interviewing me, and I actually talked about my wishes to become a solo artist. And so I got introduced by this journalist, I think I was 18, 19, to my manager who got me my first record deal at Warner. So shout outs to him. He
How
made it.
many years
Because I
was that?
auditioned for Sony, I auditioned for Universal, I auditioned for what was it? Sony, Universal, and there's another one that I forgot, and Warner. And Warner then worked with me.
How many years?
We worked together for like, oh my God, 8 years or 6 years? 6 years. 6 to 7 years.
Did
yeah.
you put out any project under Warner?
Oh yeah, a lot. Like I put out my first EP. Shout out to the young version of myself. She was so bold. She was so political. She was so opinionated. She was so deep and dark. I love her, but I've certainly evolved from that. But yeah, I released my first work, Tamba, and then my first record, Baby Blues.
Yeah.
It was a trilogy, so we went from Baby Blues to Moody Blues to Mermaid Blues, and then I fulfilled my deal. Fred, remember? I was so pleased because I think the music industry is an industry that is tough, but once you play by the rules and once you make decisions that benefit the artist and the record company both, I think your number one obligation is to keep the deal. and complete the deal. So I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Congratulations.
now, are you signed?
No, so I think being signed to a record label was the best foundation to become independent. I'm fully independent now.
No, okay, great.
I'm very proud.
Great.
The record label really set me up, not in terms of money, but in terms of experience, and which I think is way more worth than money. And this is kind of what I wish more people would understand in Ghana. Like, I feel like Ghana is very focused on money and coins and physical money, and I'm always trying to explain that's not your money. Like, it's your experience, it's your network, it's what you bring to the table, it's your talent, it's the way you present yourself, it's the way you make yourself almost irreplaceable, you know. That is your money, and that's your bank, and that's your wealth. So thanks to that, I was able to move on and have my own label with my husband, which is a lot of work, which is very expensive, but I'm still grateful that I'm able to kind of do that and give other artists the opportunity.
Okay. So who are you signed to? Like, do you guys have
To myself.
To yourself?
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, are you signed under maybe
No.
Yakoto
No.
distribution, or Yakoto the label?
No, so it's Moon Entertainment System.
Okay, yeah.
Shout out MES.
Okay, so Moon Entertainment.
Moon Entertainment System. We put on shows. We work with artists, and we are kind of working on, because we feel like the ways of the record labels, and I don't want to offend anyone who works for a label. Shout out to you guys. I see the hard work you're doing, but I feel like we have to evolve from that and kind of see how we give artists more kind of like equality in the whole process and more visibility in sense of monetization. Exactly. Yeah. So we're trying to come up with a system that makes it easier for the artists to track publishing, to you know, yeah.
Okay.
Go.
Your artistry is what I want to focus on for just a few.
Let's go.
Yeah. I've listened a little bit to the music that you make. And I'm trying to get from you, because a lot of times I think, you know, journalists or whoever is covering an artist will try to define them and maybe label them or pigeonhole them or whatever. Second time I'm using pigeonhole today. I don't know why. But how do you describe your artistry? Like, what does it represent in your mind? Because you said, shout out to the younger you, that was more political, dark, more opinionated. You've evolved from that. But the art that you've made, how do you classify it? How do you define it?
Free. I think it's very difficult to label me, and that's on purpose. I always say, confuse them, add a sprinkle of magic, and do what you want. I think that's what our duty is as artists. I always get very suspicious when it's very image driven and people rarely break out of a certain style or genre. I think, shout out to them. I think that's a way to kind of make a name for yourself. You say you're only doing that thing, you only wear that type of hair, and you only present yourself that type of way. That works for a lot of people. It's a good formula to success, but that's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in kind of shape-shifting, challenging the eyes and the ears of people. So you see me one day with my hair like this, stones, rings, whatever. The next day you see me with a slick, straight wig, you know, and a slutty outfit. And it's like, who is she? What is she about? And I think I represent all people, you know, and I naturally have an aversion to when people try and label me. And I think that's what you very much feel in my art, freedom and expansion. Because we always have to kind of transmute and transform to overcome. You're something else. Fred, did you get
the way you enter the pockets, where you give me the breakdown, as you say,
it's as if you went for a deep dive in my eyes.
I was drawn in.
Yakoto, still on your art.
Let's go, Matombo. I'm ready for you. And your beautiful legs. Doesn't he have gorgeous legs?
I envy him. The way he crosses his legs makes me...
There's two things that stick out to me, your shoes and your legs. Like, I'm mesmerized.
Thank you so much.
Fred's shoes are like, for those of you who are just listening.
We thank you. Where do you want to go, or where are you going?
To the moon.
with this? Because like your albums,
Yeah.
like the 2017, I've forgotten the name.
Mermaid Blue. So that was
Yeah.
the end of the trilogy.
2017 album, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Thank you. It's people's
It's
least
crazy.
favorite album.
Really?
That's the thing
Then I have
about
to-
me. That's what I
yeah.
was trying to explain to Fred. If you are courageous enough to do what you feel in that moment you need to do, not because you need to keep up an image or
Yeah.
please your label or
Yeah.
keep your fans happy, you'll be everyone's favorite and everyone's least favorite. And that's what makes it interesting. So Mermaid Blues is like the people's favorite, but is sold the least. Do you see what I mean?
That's and I was telling Fred, you make matured music.
Yeah.
And
I don't know
feel
what you mean.
and I feel
but-
no like the sound,
the sound is
the
very-
lyrics, the sonics, like everything is so on point.
Hey, really?
Yeah.
I just like, it goes back to what I told Fred. Like, I feel very honored and also a bit shy. I think that's why I'm talking over you fast because
yeah.
I'm having a hard time dealing with compliments. But I
no,
appreciate them.
It's true. Like me,
I
I wouldn't
appreciate
say
them.
anything.
Anxious.
It's so mature.
Thank you.
Do you feel that people are supposed to hear your sound? Do you wish many people, or more people, or two more people would hear your sound, or you don't care?
They will, whether they like it or not.
Okay.
Yeah. They will hear my sound. Like, maybe even after I die, they will still hear it. And people will reference it and take inspiration from it.
Yeah.
I see so many people who reference me and they don't talk about it, but I know. Yeah.
Are you making a conscious effort to like put all
People
of
tweet
these?
my lyrics and literally like, don't put my name next to it. So I see it. And it makes me happy.
Because you're a writer, you see.
It makes me happy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, are you making a conscious effort to push these works to like fans, or like you don't care? Like, you know, is it something you think about?
I personally like to use the word company because they keep me company as I keep them company. So I've created the Yakutu company where I have a very like intense relationship with my fans. Like we talk and we organize shows and meet and greets and stuff. Well, let's say my company, they are spread all over the world.
Yeah.
They go from Europe to Brazil, like Latin America to North America. There's a lot going on in like Eastern European countries. There's a lot going on in Italy, France, like all parts of Europe. There's a lot going on in Tokyo at the moment concerning streams and reach.
Oh, wow.
So that's just very, I think it's an honor. And if you would ask me, do you want more? Of course I want more.
Yeah.
That's why we are all working and why we are all trying to stay away from mediocrity, right? We are trying to excel, not only for ourselves, but in my case, I'm trying to be the best version of myself and put out the best work for my company, for my people.
Yeah. So quite recently, was it last year? I saw you.
Hey, God.
You were in Cali.
Where was I?
Were you in Cali last year? You were in the States last year.
Yeah, I was okay. I was
And-
about to say, I thought you was going to say, I saw you in the club, in the corner.
So I saw from your socials
Yeah.
that you were in Cali working
Yeah.
with an amazing producer.
Shout out to
Nabi.
Nabian, rapping Ghana and the West Coast.
Yeah, how did that go? Because that guy has worked with basically everybody,
IG.
Grammy nominated.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
How did it go?
IG.
What do you mean?
IG DM'd me.
Yeah. No, I was saying how did it go?
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I was like, how did it happen?
No. Like, how did your session, go?
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, let me make it short. Like, he reached out to me on IG. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Like, and what I do is I don't really text back and forth with people who produce or who are in music industry because past experience have just shown that personal exchange is the best exchange. So we called each other right away and we talked. We had a great vibe on the phone.
You guys didn't know each other?
No, we had no idea who we were. And I remember having that first phone call with Nabi, and I was like, yo, me, I'm straight. Like, I don't know how to say this to you, but I am a no BS person. When I work, I work. I want to work with you because I feel like we have a great vibe on the phone. What do you want us to do? And he's like, oh, I'm coming to Ghana then, and I have a studio and lots of artists are going to work with me. And I'm like, hell no, I'm coming to you. And that's how it started. So I went to his place. I rented a studio and we got in the studio together and we had a week. And if I tell you, I used every single second of the day. I did not go to sleep when the song was not finished. Like I worked from morning till AM.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't want to blow it. Like that's a very talented producer. You don't waste people's time. It doesn't matter who I worked with or he worked with, Once you're in the studio, you have to be humble and you have to just excel.
I mean, there's an intensity to your personality.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
So,
the way you said it, sync.
I mean, do you ever have to be...
What do you mean? Elaborate, please.
I'm comfortable. Right. I'm not saying it in a bad way at all.
Okay.
But I think you're a strong personality. You're single-minded. You know what you want. You know what you want to express. And sometimes in a space where you're creating, people who may not be as confident or may not be as outwardly expressive may feel intimidated or may think something otherwise. Do you ever allow that, or have you heard that before, first of all? If you haven't heard that before, then I don't know how you would answer the question, because my question is, does it force you to ever feel like I have to manage myself around other creatives when I'm trying to put out the best work, but this is my personality, this is who I am, and you feel like maybe I need to hold myself for somebody else to be comfortable? Have you ever felt like that? Have you felt the need in your creative process to manage your personality in a way that makes other people comfortable?
Fred, I love that you're bringing this up because I think it's something we can all relate to. I think if you've kind of worked hard for something, like perfected your skill or whatever, and you step into a room where you don't even have to care too much about other people, but where you clearly feel, oh no, I think I'm the best in the room, I think you should change the room. That's what I feel. I don't think it's good for your soul and for your spirit and for your mind to surround yourself with people who have nothing to teach you. So I've kind of made it like a priority in my life. Like I really cultivate working with people who are better than me. Like I know it's all relative, but like I must be extremely impressed by what you do. And that can be as a simple thing as like creating a melody. Like I don't mean selling records. I don't mean numbers. I don't mean streams. And I don't mean followers. That fixation on followers is a mystery to me. It has always been like, how many people follow you? Like so many people followed Hitler and he was a horrible, horrible person. You know what I mean? Like, so that's nothing to me. But like, yeah, I make an effort to cultivate being in the presence of people who can teach me, because I feel like the moment I'm not teachable anymore, then I should just end my life. Like I feel like it's all about experiencing and getting better. Did I do it in the past? Did I kind of sometimes like feel a bit almost shy about what I knew or the languages I spoke or the cultures I carried inside of me? I did it, yeah, but because I was young and inexperienced and because I wanted to be part of a group of a scene. I wanted people to invite me to the studio. I wanted people to invite me to their parties, to their podcasts. So I think I did try and lower myself, but that was a very short period of my life. I think the universe slapped me a few times and I learned my lesson and I was like, nah, I'm done with that. Like, and now it's all about learning. That's all I focus on. Like every time I get into the studio, if you don't have anything new to teach me, it's like we can hang out. But
How many languages do you speak?
We're not working.
How many languages do you speak?
Currently 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you
but
tell
every
me?
Ghanaian speaks like 5 languages,
I know,
which is
no,
incredible.
your languages sound like it's not Ghanaian languages is what you're talking about.
But I'm jealous. Like I am still trying to perfect my tree.
So the 3 are?
French, German, and English fluent.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's trying to perfect your tree though.
That is my biggest like disappointment that my dad never really focused on Tree, because I think maybe he saw the vision before I did, like the writing and the talking and the workshops that I do, and you know, so he focused on English, and so yeah, but that's my dream, to actually learn Tree and Ewe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So during your time with
You can pass one Ewe chick.
Yeah, like, honestly, that's my.
yeah.
So Tree is like, to me, it's like such a beautiful language. I feel like there's royalty in this language. It's incredible. Like if I were a purely Ghanaian artist, that's the only language I would communicate. Like my dad, right? Like that's, honestly, I love hearing it. I love hearing songs sang in Tree. My favorite Tree singer at the moment is Mensa. I feel like when Mensa sings in Tree, like I just, honestly, it's like it's a real experience, phonetic experience. And then Ewe is just so beautiful. It was so, I don't know, it's such a strong language. Yeah. And some of my favorite people in the country as well.
Have you said no to any producer before?
Oh yeah,
you
plenty.
Said,
yeah. Yeah. No harsh feelings though. Like it's not, maybe even I thought maybe it wouldn't match. Maybe it was even me. Like, look, this is the thing. I've said this many times. I never put myself above anyone, but I also don't put myself under anyone. That's a no for me. Like, I will not feel inferior or superior to anyone. That's a no. That's a sin for me. So it's like, if I say no, it's probably because I feel like the vibe is not right, or I have nothing to offer. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So your time with Nabbing in Cali.
Yeah.
Like
It was intense.
Yeah. Did you have people passing through your studio sessions?
Yeah, I mean, talented people. Like, I was working with a mixing engineer. Shout out to CA Anthems. Like, he's one of the fasting engineers. Like, for those of you listening who maybe don't know, like, you're in the studio, you are writing, but you're simultaneously recording. So you're not only writing the song, you're recording it, putting it together, composing it. So what the producer usually does is he has an engineer so that he can focus on building the beats, right? Depending on what kind of producer you are. Well, Nabin is someone who does everything from scratch. He does not, and that's what I respect most about him, he does not play beats to you. He does everything on scratch. Like in front of you, with you. And you have to be very alert, because he's going to look up and say, do you fuck with this? Am I allowed to swear? Yeah. Do you fuck with this or not? Like, it's a co-creating process. And then we have CA, who's the mixing engineer, who then needs to record everything in an ultimate speed and record me and chop it all together and do the editing in real time. So yeah, those people kept me awake, honestly.
Wow.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, because I definitely knew that you working with Nabe, you would have the chance to be on your toes and also to meet dope people who would inspire you, or you know, who do we have people from Ghana who are on there?
So I released before, like when I was just on a roll releasing singles, I collaborated in 2022. I did a song with J Bad. The reason why I chose J Bad to be a collab is because I'm obsessed with his video where he's wearing the traditional, you know, the yaudum, traditional clothes and costumes, and there's something so authentic about him. There's something so real, this raging, this youth, this kind of like saying it as it is. Unfortunately, I don't understand all the tree, but I understand the feeling. I love the rage, I love the anger, I love the darkness. And so I invited him to come on my track Secret, and that was an amazing collaboration. Shout out to J Bad, he's real. I reached out to so many artists. I reached out, honestly, to only female artists, and none of them replied to me. Yeah, so
wow,
that's not happening.
Well, I don't know if we should even give that, like flesh it out as to why, but what I'm also interested in is, you said you evolved from your previous albums, and the culmination of that was Mermaid Blues, where you feel like it might have been your best work, but you felt like the reception was not as, you know,
in Germany. So that's the thing, right? So reception was in Germany was like, oh, we miss the old Yah. You know, like they say that we miss the old Kanye. So they were like, we miss the old Yah who was more soul-y and R&B and
But
kind
then
of
you
like
had moved.
jazz. And then I went to Mermaid Blues where I was like, nah, I want to experiment with pop. I want to experiment with singer-songwriter. I want to experiment with African music, you know. So it was very successful for my artistry, but numbers-wise, because people get so held up on your sound.
From an evolutionary standpoint, where do you think you are sound-wise and also thought-wise, where you're putting down as a writer,
Yeah.
coming from all of that description that you talked about in your Warner days to now? Sound-wise, where are you? And thought-wise, worldview-wise, where are you?
I think I've kind of like left behind all rules. I've left behind all perception from other people. There's only perception of self. That's the only real thing for anybody. For you, Fred, for Mutumba, I feel like the only thing we can view is ourselves. We don't have the right to judge anyone or look at anything. We can put a name to it or a label to it or a genre to it, but that doesn't make it real. It's only real for yourself. So what's on this album is only what's real to me. I've fused pop, I have fused Afro beats, and I call it Afro-garde because I feel like my work is the avant-garde of music, where it's like African artists are now at a point where they don't only have to do Afro-pop or Afrobeat to be categorized as musicians. We are now at a point, a very beautiful point, where we can be alternative and seen as prolific songwriters, experimentalists, and innovation and boundary pushers. And I think that's what you feel and what you hear and what you read in the lyrics, right? So I'm basically, no genre is off limit. So you will hear progressive post-punk, you will hear R&B, you know, soul, you will hear Afrobeat, you will hear a piano ballad that I wrote on my piano in Accra. Shout out to my piano. And you will hear, like, what genre have I not covered? But yeah, that's quite a lot.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
You are very firm when it comes to your art. Like, you are not going to lose guard, like we say, you know, when it comes to your art. And there are a few people who can come out bluntly and you know, and say, or, you know, say how they feel.
Right.
You know, some will just, you know, beat about the bush and be kind to you. What?
Come on, be rude to me.
Yeah.
Where's the palm wine?
What's
Guys.
the?
We are waiting
the
for you to
palm wine?
leave.
We will finish soon. We will finish. We will
I feel
finish
like I'm
soon.
being scammed though in real time.
So what currently, right, is trash for you when you taking the Ghana music scene? What isn't working for you? What do you wish would change?
I actually like what's happening in the Ghana music scene. I feel like we are having kind of like a very good moment when it comes to the versatility and variation of artists that you can find in Ghana.
Are they making hits, you think?
Yes. I feel like that. And I feel like, honestly, the best thing you can do is have a hit in your own country. That is, to me, that's powerful. That's how Americans did hip-hop, man, and brought it to the world and took over the whole globe. And reggae artists too, like, you know, Bob Marley did reggae music. Reggae music represented his culture.
Yeah.
And he's a global legendary pop star, right?
Yeah.
So I think where we have problems is more like in the industry. If I'm going to be completely frank with you, is our mindset and our mentality pertaining to certain things that you just have to do if you want global success, you know, which is like the highest, but even regional success. You have to do certain things and you have to stick to certain rules, right? And you have to stick to certain business commitments.
Yeah.
And I see kind of some people, not everyone, struggling with commitment, right? Consistency. I think these are very important aspects if you want to make it as an artist, period. But I do think that Ghana is in a very special place. Almost like the place we were when we invented Azonto and then people snatched it off us.
Yeah.
But I feel like what really lacks is unity, So
That lacks, right?
yeah, but alternatively and progressively, we are cool. Like, honestly, what we bring to the table as artists, like the variety of music. We have our Alte artists, we have our Afrobeat artists, Afropop, we have our hip hop artists, we have our traditional artists. Like, wow, that's insane. That's so much.
But go around town and you seldomly hear Ghanaian songs. It's just the Nigerian songs, and quite recently Amapiano and all
Right.
that. And for me personally, if you ask me, I don't think we are at a better place. You know, now I don't know what you.
Well,
what you
I
think.
listen to. Okay. You mean as in like when you go to clubs or to restaurants? What
Yeah,
music
I
you
don't
hear?
go to clubs, but quite recently I don't see any artist who is, well, maybe Stone Boy. Yes, Stone Boy, not maybe.
But he's doing dancehall.
Yeah, dancehall, but you know
Dancehall,
yeah, and we have Black Sheriff.
Yeah.
I'm not for following him like keen.
He's doing
I'm
his
not
own
so
genre.
keen.
I mean, I feel like all his music sound the same to me. No disrespect or nothing, but maybe I haven't listened hard enough. When I listen to him. Anyway, let me throw a question at you because it came up through one of Mutombo's questions to you.
Let's go.
You mentioned that you reached out to only female artists
Yeah.
in the Ghanaian music industry.
Yeah.
So as I have a two-part question. I want to know why, just females. And then the second part is, this is a reach, but it's just the way my mind works sometimes.
Let's go.
The lack of response from any of the artists that you reached out to, did that remind you of SOS and you're growing up? Or how did that feel? How did that feel that no one responded?
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't take a wild card because, you know, I feel like in business, I don't take things personal. If you step on my feet personal, on a personal level, like let's say
we have a problem.
we were in a relationship together, or
We'll come to that one too.
okay, cool, I can't wait. Anyway, like if you step on my feet in a certain way, fine, like I'll confront you. But if it's business, if I just reach out to you because I think you're a dope artist and you don't reply to me, I don't know that. Maybe you were busy or you didn't see the message. Honestly, I don't think far when it comes to these things. Yeah,
okay.
but I did have the vision to have more female collaborators, so I tried. Right, didn't get a response. So shout out to my brothers because I've always really clicked with men. I've had, honestly, some of my best friends were always men and are still always men. Me and Navin are good friends, right? Do you see what I mean? So I just reached out to them and they just got back to me straight away. Like they were just like, yo, I fuck
So
with
is
your
it general
music. Like J
female-
Bad got back to me and was like, I fuck with your music. Like, yeah.
But I'm saying, is it a general female thing you think, or it was just this Ghanaian industry thing that?
Happens to me in Europe and America as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you never tried to figure out why?
Of course, but you would need another podcast for that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Let me just say this. I love the way the younger generation is going about it. Like, I feel like Gen Z, shout out to you guys. I feel like the way you big each other up and the way you
Yeah,
celebrate
true. That's
yourselves
true.
and the way you create your little clubs and your collabs and you do your visuals together and there's a girl filming, there's a girl producing
Yeah.
now, there's a female DJ. That's a vibe. And that makes me feel that my generation, people like me who always stood for empowerment, not even female empowerment period.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love to see that. I love to see how they lift each other up. And I love to see the younger, they come to me and I'm like, oh, Yakuto, like, oh, you're like one of my favorite artists. Like, they're so shy and
That's
cute.
dope.
But yeah, so I feel like this is really happening. My generation, but I always say like, oh, as for us millennials, we're a bit boring, honestly. Like, I feel like we could be, and that's why I think the friendship with Debbie is so cool. You know?
I was coming to that.
Yeah, like that's dope. Like, that's just easygoing. There's no competition because we're so different, and that's never something that even occurs to our minds. It's all about having fun and, you know, giggling and doing cool stuff together.
I met you. I met you through Debbie, and now the question is, how did you guys meet? Like, like, how did you guys meet, and what does
Honestly,
your
I
relationship
knew both
mean
of
to
them,
you?
the siblings, the famous siblings. I knew One Love and Sister Deborah. I knew them both through YouTube in Germany. That's why I discovered them. And I always liked it. I think back in the days, she was already very active, you know, when it came to the environment. And I remember she was vicariously posting healthy food. And I'm a big healthy eater, everyone knows. Like, people even feel pressure when I come into the room, they remove all their junk food because they're like, hey, yeah, it's coming. Like, yeah, healthy food, environment, and One Love just for his progressive lyrics. And so they're kind of like, to me, like very important alternative musicians in Ghana. So the rest was, I think, our label. I think my former marketing manager from Warner made the link between me and One Love, and One Love made the link between me and Debbie.
Oh, dope.
And the rest is history.
Yeah. Have you guys done songs together?
Oh yeah, we have. Debbie and I have a very fun, girly, flower pop, girl power anthem, Somebody, which I think is so cute, and the video is awesome. You guys should check it out. It's been so much fun, kind of like doing that or going on that journey together.
How do you or what would you feel about Sister Deborah's art? You know,
I think it's very
art,
important.
Like,
I think what she does
her
and what
music.
I think what she does and what she represents for Ghanaians is very important. And it always, it always warms my heart when we are out and the young girls come forward to her and they're dressed colorful and they're confident and they don't take no for an answer, and they're cute and they're well educated and they're open-minded. And I always tell her, look, this is your legacy, You see, you're inspiring the masses. And I do admire how they both, I feel like, speak to the masses and translate important messages like environment and to speak up for everyone. They are advocating for LGBTQ, which I think is awesome. In a country like Ghana, we need voices that oppose, and that's what they stand for, and that's how I view them as artists.
Throughout this conversation, you have mentioned some dope people who make music
Have
too.
I?
Yeah.
Who?
J Bad.
Oh yeah.
I can go on nabbing, and all that. Who won't we find on your Spotify or Apple Music? Yeah, won't we find?
Who won't we find?
Like, who won't you listen to? Because earlier on, you also said that you, like, if you don't have anything to offer, So who won't
I
you
think
listen
this
to?
goes for every aspect in life. I think generic music I find quite trying. Like
generic music, like
generic music, like if I feel like you just have one topic, all you sing about I'll die, you broke my heart, I love you, I don't know, if it's too simplistic, I can't relate to it. Like I like people who tell a story. I like people who talk about real things, and because I'm a writer, I can very quickly kind of spot like, oh, this is a woman, but there was a bunch of guys in the room who wrote these lyrics, right? So that's something I think I'm very, very like attuned to, and I don't like very much. I feel like this authentic music speaks to me, like authentic female writing, male writing. I think if someone gives you a deal, money, and a microphone, and it's like, go be a musician, if you don't have anything to say except for like, I love you, or
Baby shake the booty.
Baby shake into my ass and shake for me.
Hey, Charlie.
Shake for me, twerk into my throat. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
We're
Like,
getting into German porn.
honestly, no. Like, I'm just so tired of it. Like, and I mean, as much as there's beauty to it.
Oh wait, you get so tired of your.
I just think
like
it's
people putting things in your throat.
I think it's no. I never get tired of that, Mutombo. That's actually my favorite activity.
Oh wow.
Where is Tim?
Tom.
Oh, Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Tom, should I go?
Why? Yeah, go.
So we've been talking about
Hey, what say? You are still laughing.
What say?
You have a long neck. What should he do?
Yeah, it comes out the other way.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. You always top it. That's good. I love that. I love that sense of humor. We've spoken about, I think even though there's been a lot of light-heartedness to our conversation, I think we've spoke about...
Let's get heavy.
Yeah, about heavy stuff. So I want to go light a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay, I thought you were now going to be happy.
You know what? So, because I'll give you a little bit of a background.
Let's go.
When you are coming on, I have had very little time to research as much as I would have liked to. But I saw 2 Instagram posts, and I kind of ran through your page. And then I heard snippets of your music, and I was able to form an opinion. Because I think in a short span,
POV.
your personality constantly shines through. Like, you're an individual who knows themselves. It's like you're not lost, you're not all over the place. There's some sensual shots of you on your IG. And I was wondering, now you're married, right? I'm like, how did, for someone like yourself, forget the stardom or the art, being an artist, your personality in general, you could have been a school teacher and you'd still be intense, right? How did your husband...
Or a none.
Yeah, or it could be 2.
Both.
Yeah, both. That's freaky, actually.
Do
But
all.
how, if not your husband, how have guys approached you and been able to get you to go on a first date? What's been the thing that makes you like...
Very strong guys.
Like...
That's what I can say.
No, come on, you got to tell me. Give me a little bit more than strong.
Okay, they're very strong-minded. They know what they want, and they're not easily intimidated.
So how do they move to you?
Very direct. Yeah.
I like to take you out, or I just like to
so-
sleep with you. What are they saying?
So
It's
revealing himself.
I mean, I'm transparent too.
Very transparent. Okay, so you get what you give, right? So first of all, I love being married. I never thought that being married would be so fun and so fulfilling and so giving and so endlessly challenging on the one side, but endlessly rewarding on the other side. Like, marriage really forces you to look within and self-correct every single day, because someone loving you doesn't equate to someone accepting all your, your behavioral traits. Like, you really have to work on yourself, and that's what we find. I think both Tom and I find it very beautiful, the challenge of being different and rediscovering each other every day, taking each other on dates, and working for our love every single day. So let's just say that. But in the past, when I was still on the road,
On the street.
I was never on the streets, but I was.
No,
I was touring. I was, I was in a different country.
No, of course not on this.
I was touring. I was always in a different country. I was always, let's say the guys that step to me are confident. Okay. So, and that's what I admire about all my exes, like extremely confident, extremely intelligent, extremely determined. And because I also challenged them, and I was always like, yo, what do you want? Like, and I actually feel like men like strong women. That's what I conclude from everything I've been through, because of course my previous relationships were hard and there's a lot of heartbreak. But if I think of it as a whole, I'm very grateful for every single lesson the men, taught me,
That's how they got you on the first date?
Pardon?
All the intensity and heartbreak.
So basically
I'm just being a smart ass.
No, exactly. So all men that step to me, and I say that without like an exception, are very straightforward and tell me exactly what they want from me.
I was looking for the fun
Because I
part,
asked
like,
them.
Maybe give me an example of how they walked up to you and what they said. Or
Basically, there are several things. I like when people call me by my name. So I think babe or baby girl is like a no for me.
Yeah, same.
I like when people call me Ya or Yakuto. Like, my husband calls me Ya. He doesn't call me babe or...
No, none of that.
He calls me Ya.
Pancake.
Yeah, like none
Hello,
of that.
pancake.
He calls me Ya.
Chocolatas.
And the guys that step to me, I like it when someone's like, yeah, Yakuto, let me talk to you. Yeah.
Okay.
I like that. I like when someone calls me by my name. I like when someone is open and transparent.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't like if you're too like doing back and forth or not being clear with me, I lose interest. Yeah, and I don't chase. So you really have to know what you want. Otherwise, you'll be in a very bad, embarrassing position with me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
But anyone listen to this, like, it shouldn't be important, like, how guys step to you. It's about what you like in men as well. I feel like it's more about women. We as women have to start figuring out what we want from men and then just outsource and filter. I feel like a lot of women are still stuck in this. I mean, like, he should be doing this by now and doing this. And I'm always like, well, did you tell him that that's what you expect of him? And they're like, well, not yet. I don't want to seem too pushy, or I don't want to seem like I'm doing too much. And I'm like, oh, that's the whole principle of being a woman. Do too much.
Have you ever thought of doing film?
It's my dream to act. Yeah.
Because I see it.
Yeah, I've auditioned for roles that I didn't get in Europe before COVID it started, that I was being asked to act. But then I moved to Ghana, so... But that's
Why would you do that?
I moved to Ghana.
Moved to Ghana?
Moved to Ghana.
Fred,
No one moved to Ghana.
Fred, can you imagine that people thought I had actually lost my mind when I said I was moving to Ghana?
They are right.
That's what they
They
said
are
to me
right.
as well.
A full record deal, a full touring, full setup, full corporate deals.
Where, in Europe?
Yeah.
And you moved?
Yeah.
Yakuto, Charlie. Hey.
Are you laughing at your own insanity?
Because
Do you look back and go like, oh damn, I shouldn't have moved?
Life is about experience, and life is about challenging yourself.
Ghana, you don't experience anything in Ghana.
And
That's all we see.
I think Ghana is great for sharpening
Suffering.
For sharpening.
For suffering. Yeah.
Ghana is great for sharpening your experience, for becoming determined, for imposing yourself, for knowing what you want.
Beg.
That's
Ghana was sharpen and it will break braga. It will break you, bra. It will sharpen you, braga, then you will break.
Mutombo, where would you rather be then?
Where would I rather be?
If
Somewhere
Ghana-
in Europe, Charlie.
But I've lived in Europe my entire life.
Me, I've not lived in Europe. So you let me go.
I think the freedom.
I
we
thought I
experience-
see you more as an American guy.
The way we.
Yeah. So I'm often
Like
there.
Cali.
Yeah, Cali, but nah, Europe.
Yeah?
Where I want to live proper Europe.
The
There's
day.
so many people who are giving out free visa and house for $100.
The day. The
Is it
day.
Yeah. be true.
Guys, listen to me. The day.
You see, we want to believe.
The day. Listen to me. I'm about to drop mic.
Mic drop.
The day Ghanaians start to put human relationships first instead of personal gain and cultivate greed. That's the day when we will flourish as
Didn't see
people.
that. It will never happen.
And why does it not happen? We just have to look at our history. Our only problem in this country, in my opinion, is tribalism. And if you look at, like, how it was even before, colonial, I hated powers because they were assholes for doing what they did, right? Before they came, there was a big occurrence of tribalism in this country. There were different tribes. We would be lying to ourselves if we would say it's all unity and whatever. That's a lie, right? And then we had a very smart man who came and said, we need to forget all that. We need to educate ourselves. We need to stick together. We need to make living affordable for every single Ghanaian. We need to give value to people.
Yeah.
We need to give people something to do. And it worked. It worked for a while, right? Until we jeopardized that idea as well, because we were then opposing a threat to the West, because it was harder to manipulate us the moment we actually stuck together. So I feel like once that trickles down to us,
Chicken
into
before the
our
egg
brain.
or egg before the chicken?
Pardon?
Chicken before the egg or egg
Be-
before the chicken?
Darling, not chicken. Before that trickles down to us, into our brains, into our consciousness, into our mentality as Ghanaians. I always say we need a mentality purge. Like, we need to drop everything we know.
You have hope.
But that's why I'm asking.
It's my duty as an artist. It's my duty as an
that's
artist.
Why I'm asking you.
It is my duty as an artist to be hopeful, to spread positivity, to spread. It is
But
my duty.
Earlier on, you said even the artists hate coming together. Right? You see, so at every point, we are not ready to come together to ensure that, yes, we are going to work for this change or for that change. Everybody is...
We have to start with ourselves. We have to start with ourselves.
Forget it, Charlie. Me, I'm tired.
It's more reason why I was throwing the chicken and egg thing. I was partially being jovial, but
Okay.
I want, because you said something we all care about. We want Ghana to be better. I was thinking
I
that
love Ghana.
this would
That's
be
my
one of
home.
the situations or episodes where it doesn't get political at all. But since you spoke
no
about
problem.
unity, I'll take it from a social level. Frankly, I'm asking because you're saying that, but you kind of answered it, so I want to extend the thought.
Okay.
Kwame Nkrumah had a bright idea. We were tribalistic before the colonialists came in, but then somehow we seem to still struggle with the concept of
Classism is
unity.
also a big problem here.
And so I'm at the point in my life where I assign no responsibility to the West,
Yeah.
regardless of whatever's going on. I don't give a shit. What they did, what they are trying to do, because my thought process is at the place now where I sincerely believe that to care about yourself and to love yourself is way, way, way more effective than any external force. And this lazy concept of, oh, look what they did to us, look what they did to us, they've been shoving it down our throats like for decades or centuries. It's like if I drill down and I separate the bullshit and I look at it, I'm like, okay, but right now, no one is stopping Asimesi from dealing with Antiesi. They are all just not willing to work together. It's the greed, there's no white person sitting on the phone saying, you minister of whatever, you should buy an island in the West. There is no Western power that's insisting that your finance minister should be a top-notch criminal who knows how to ship money overseas. There's no white power that's saying, oh my God, you people should not have electricity that is consistent. You people should not have water that's clean, that's consistent. None of these things are being imposed by external forces. It's a lack of love for self. Sorry, soapbox, over. Point is, I am asking you, the question I'm trying to ask you is,
Come on.
where do you stand on this concept of oppression and how we get ourselves out of the rut that we're in? Because we're definitely in a rut. It's killing us, and it's making us not able to thrive and see the beauty of all of what we are and what we represent.
I think you've summed it up so beautifully. There's nothing much to add, honestly. The self-love that I also talk about in my music, to my audience, in my company. Like I said, I call my fans the company because we keep each other company. Me with my music, them by supporting me. And I feel like there's nothing more to add, Charlie. I'm not someone who's now going to say something else to make it sound more intelligent. Do you see what I mean? But it's the lack of self-love. It's the lack of seeing what we have to offer, even our natural resources, the fact that we have nature, but we're disrespecting it, the fact that we have rivers, but we're polluting them, the fact that we have fish, but they're intoxicated, the fact that we have beautiful people, but there's instability in families, infidelities, a lot of single moms, a lot of dads struggling to provide, a lot of insecurity, a lot of trauma, right? There's a lot of unresolved trauma within the youth, within our generation, within our parents' generation, where it's like, oh, don't talk about it, go to church, pray on it. So there are a lot of internal, really, I would say problematic things that we have to solve for ourselves. That's why I say we need to start with ourselves. But we also cannot kick Ghana to the ground. And that's something that I love about American culture. You go to Chicago, they rep Chicago. You go to LA, they rep LA. You go to New York, it's New York,
yeah.
right? And that's what I learned from my American friends. Like, you need to rep your country. You need to rep your hood. You need to rep your people. I rep my people. Do I rep our leaders? Hell no. Do you know what I mean? Do I rep the greedy upper class? Hell no. Do I rep the big corporations that are taking advantage of people's poverty and illiteracy? No. But I rep my people. I love my country.
I love it.
Wow.
Hey.
I was going to say
Mutombo the
something, but
poet.
Mutombo has to talk. So
Oh no, if you get a question now, because my question will be perfect for the end.
okay. So we've been seesawing. The political intensity is there. I guess what I'm feeling is helplessness.
In the country, yeah.
In the country, but
Yeah.
you know, I love that you bring it up by saying Americans rep who they are. And there's such a thing as an American identity.
Mm-hmm.
There's a strong sense of belief in a collective culture. They're made up of Irish, Italians, and all sorts of immigrants. So
Period.
this challenge of tribalism, hard like that. But the question further is, we want to have a national identity, but when the national identity seems to be so unanimously corrupt, that corruption is the identity of the country. When you go from the lowest level of anything, there's skim the process, go around the process. There's nothing that is straightforward. Even when you want to go to the shrine, there's a way of skimming the process. It's like, is that the culture? Or are we I'm thinking, are we failing to recognize how we are wired so that we can engineer change through that? Because it seems like we're trying to resist something that almost seems innate. In times of,
Correct.
if something happens, instead of, I see me see by let's keep it down, let's solve it. A child is mutilated, raped, or whatever, and people are trying to keep a hush because they think it's an insult to the family name to let it go to the police or whatever the case may be. These are small pockets of corruption that happens on a daily basis.
Wild offenses as well.
Yeah, and I'm asking, is there a way to engineer change by recognizing that maybe this is truly who we are through that path to maybe some form of an enlightenment that helps us progress?
Fred, whenever I get to this point where I feel like, where do we start? Where do we begin? I literally start with myself. There's not a situation you can put me in where if I see something that is unjust, I will not speak about it. And I will speak about it to your face. I will make you feel uncomfortable. I will call you out. I will also report you to authorities if I feel like what you're doing is incorrect, or I will deal with you personally. And I think this is what we can do. We can talk about it, we can say it, we can put a name on it, we can challenge our family members, we can challenge corporations. You have a podcast, you're doing many things. I think you were just kind of like keeping it low key, but I feel like both of you are involved in many things and that are cultural and necessary in this country. And never forget, if you look at the word culture, cult is inside. So a lot of the behavior that you're seeing is culty. It's like, oh, if you do something else, we don't look at. I say, be that something else every day. Be it every day, live in that every day. Don't compromise what you believe in for the mass or for what the culture stands for. And then bit by bit, maybe not in your lifetime, maybe not in my lifetime, but I perfectly believe, and I absolutely believe that Ghana and Africa as a union, I believe this like, having different countries, that's like so backward to me. I think we'll be a big union. That's what I project. I feel like Africa will be the continent that is remotely safe, also safe from environmental catastrophes. And I think that if we get it right, we can form strong allegiances with all countries because they will be dependent on us. That's what I firmly believe.
Yeah. If you are to pick two people,
They should call me.
if you are to pick two
Booyaka.
I can help.
two people to like tour it, who would they be?
To what?
To like tour with, like to tour, like to go on tour with.
Oh, okay. If there's two people I could tour with.
Two people to tour with.
You mean because I'm going on tour, so as my
okay, yeah,
support act?
Yes,
As my support act.
Yeah.
So I recently took on Tomiwa, who's like a Nigerian singer-songwriter, because but who lives in Ghana, so he's also rapping Ghana, that's also my problem. Sometimes I don't really see the difference in us because those borders are really man-made, you know, so it's like Nigeria, Ghana, who cares, like, you know, Benin, and also because I speak French, so I really see like more like where we are one instead of where we are different. So I took Tommy on tour. He's a brilliant singer-songwriter. He writes himself. He reminded me very much of myself when I started. So I already took him on tour. That's a good question. I don't really know on the top of my head like this who I would take.
Two people who would you would go on tour.
I would like to go on tour with The Weeknd.
To be The Weeknd. Oh,
Yeah.
dope. Wow. Dope.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Tom like, make it happen.
Based off of his old work or his new work?
All of him.
Okay.
I think I love his very beginnings and his very now, even though it sounds very different. I love it. And
actually, it makes sense because you yourself are an advocate of that.
Yeah.
The change.
Yeah, the versatility.
Dope.
So it's that and
That's our
then
way.
Lady Gaga. Yeah.
Wow.
Dope,
Yeah,
dope.
She's like, to me, she's one of the illest. Like, shout out to Madonna because she was like the first, and shout out to Diana Ross and Beyonce and all these girls. I love them all. Like, don't come for me. But like Lady Gaga, her songwriting, her show, the singing is just, I would like to go on tour with her.
Dope. Last question. If you are to pick two artists to like, you know, write for, who would they be? Two artists, like. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I think I'd definitely like to work with Lenny Kravitz. I think he's so dope, like as a mixed. I think he's mixed as well.
Yeah.
And I love the rock and I love the alternative approach as well. So
He
I'd like
just
to.
released.
Yeah,
he
he's
just
still
re- yeah,
releasing, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
also really looking up
The way
to.
you say he just released.
Yeah, but like he just released an album, right?
Yeah.
No, it's just he left it very open-ended.
You continue.
I'm innocent.
He just
I don't
released
understand.
what?
I don't understand.
Just released at
Yeah,
the
Lenny-
very end.
Lenny Kravitz is dope.
Yeah,
And then
shout out to Lenny, very, very dope.
I
Blue
de-
Electric Light.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
cool. Then I'd love to definitely write with this guy, Rema. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Not
Then-
for him, but with like. I
Okay.
think he's a dope artist.
Yeah, Rema is dope. I just saw on
The
Instagram
Nigerian
that.
kid.
Yeah.
I just saw on Instagram that his song "Can't Calm Down" now has 1 billion streams on
There you have it.
Spotify.
I think he's
Yeah.
like, to me, that's what makes me proud. And I don't, that's the thing about me though, like people will hate me for this, but to see a Nigerian winning, I feel part as a Ghanaian. I don't know why. Like I don't see the,
I mean,
I don't see the
we should.
difference. Yeah, I feel like
no,
I'm
no,
also,
but you know how Ghana and then Nigeria.
yeah, I know about
the
it,
wars,
of course.
you know.
And even like my dad who lived in Lagos and who was always like, don't go to Lagos, like whatever you do, don't go to Lagos. But
Why?
I think because life in Lagos is hard. Yeah, so he was really like, he's a hardcore guy, but I don't think he
Yeah.
wanted his daughter to go,
Yeah,
right? So it was more
yeah.
like a protective father thing. But yeah, like for me, every African winning is, for me, it's like we're winning.
Dope.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. That's how
Yeah.
it's supposed to be.
Charlie, almost 2 hours.
Oh,
and
wow.
we've spoken about everything.
now I'm happy.
Yeah, we've spoken about
Now I'm
everything.
Thank you, guys.
Music, life, and
Relationships.
And
relationships,
How not to try to hit on
politics.
even though she's married now, guys, it's too late. But back then, you had to be strong to approach her and
Confident,
direct
yeah.
and confident.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie, guys,
I don't like no mumus.
an episode is up, you know, with the amazing Yakoto.
Season 5 is upon us.
Yes. Charlie, guys, Charlie.
Dope.
This has been very. I spoke less.
No, you spoke the most.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you spoke the most. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You both.
It's a good thing.
You both said very
Yeah, Charlie,
cool
and
things.
Akoto came through with her essence, you know.
She's so dope.
Yeah, very, very dope. Very, very,
Thank you guys.
very,
Interesting,
very. Yeah,
intense.
very, very. But
But
nothing polished. Like
Yeah.
not trying to sugarcoat anything.
I think your sense of humor is not for the bone. Sorry, I can't say it. Tree. But yeah, if your head die,
And
you know go bab
And
the
Charlie,
girl, you go feel say they do something.
you guys for
But say,
listening.
yeah.
You guys for go in Spotify and just listen. You
Yeah. I
just
appreciate you
pick one
guys.
song.
Yeah.
Just pick one song and just listen. And come and thank me later.
This is gonna be the biggest podcast in Africa. I'm convinced.
Allah, 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 Allah,
Yeshua, Charlie, pray for that one, man. We pray, chair.
So I
boy.
feel very honored that I could be part in the early
Yeah,
days.
Charlie.
you
Thanks
know.
for blessing us.
And I hope
Thank
you
you.
still think of me when.
Oh, yeah, of course.
blow.
Oh, Charlie, we
Oh, we'll see you again.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Because
Thank
I asked you a question.
No,
you said
we
we'll
have
take
to
an-
be telling you this
Yeah.
because Charlie, you are going to blow and we won't.
no.
And we won't even
mean, we
be
all
able
blow.
to like reach
No,
you.
but you remember she said I asked her a question. She said it would take a whole other podcast. We'll take you up on
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
offer.
Yeah.
No, this
Ooh,
I want
answer
this
that
to be
question.
bigger than Joe Rogan's show. Like,
Ella,
Vim.
Ella, Ella,
Vim.
Ella,
This
Ella,
is-
Because more people in the
Ella,
Africa too. We
Yeah,
yeah. for here.
no,
Yeah.
but we have to
But
let's
just they don't get internet.
Guys.
Some of them did the bush inside.
share this, save this.
Yeah,
like,
Charlie.
Oh, they go
And-
cancel me,
and
Jesus.
Yakuto, Y'_AKOTO, Charlie.
Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
and you guys come and thank me later. The F More Let's Divide podcast, Fred.
Yes, sir.
We are through.
with a shoe and shiny leg.
Yeah. This is
It was
dope.
so much fun.
You were fun.